I think we're our own worst enemy when it comes to success, and I think it's a very complex question to which there are a number of answers. And in the first instance, I think part of the problem is that we don't define what we mean by success before we start. And so along the way, we keep changing the goalposts, and we don't then feel we've ever achieved success because we never get to the place because it's undefined. So I think if you want to achieve success, one of the things that's important is to define at this moment in time what success looks like for us now. And of course you can change that over time, but at least then you have an opportunity to recognise your achievements along the way to success and celebrate those, and ultimately to redefine that success along the way. But it's much easier to achieve something when you know what you're trying to achieve, rather than having this great foggy thing that we call success, and then you can't plan for it because you don't actually know what you're planning for. So that's one of the things that I think is really important. I know as many people who are as fearful of succeeding as I know are fearful of failing. And it's an interesting one that if each of us were able to see ourselves in the way that we are, the unique, amazing human being that has many skills and attributes, rather than so many of us look at what we haven't got, what we can't do. So for example, I don't walk very well, I still use a wheelchair, and there have been times when I've been wheelchair bound. It would have been very easy to look at all of the things that I can't do and to focus on them. And I think one of the reasons why I was able to be successful professionally particularly was I looked at my strengths. What are the things I could do? I could still use my brain, still use my mouth, still use my hands, as you can patently see, even if I didn't walk very well or walk at all. So I think for all of us it is actually looking at what are the things we can do. They're our starting point. What are the things that we want to achieve? What is success? And what do we need to do to get there? And to be ready to step into being the best that we can be. And that when we are successful, to be able to recognise that, celebrate that, and then use that as a platform for future success. I also think that many of us fail to succeed because we get overwhelmed, that it seems like such a big thing to try and do, and we overestimate what we can do in a day or a week, and we hugely underestimate what we can achieve in 6 months or a year. So I say to my clients very often, you know, if I offered you a cow in one sitting, bearing in mind that you're not a vegetarian, you would get overwhelmed by it, and you certainly would get indigestion if you actually attempted to do it. But if you broke that down into a steak today and shepherd's pie tomorrow and a chop the day after, you could actually enjoy that whole cow over time. And looking towards success is no different. It's about how do you break that down into manageable chunks, prioritising the things that need to be done and doing those bit by bit, but being consistent and keeping going. And lots of people have the grand gesture. It's a bit like going to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week and I'm going to go for an hour a day. And they do it the first day and then can't move for 2 weeks, and so they stop going. Rather than, I'm going to take some exercise, I'll do 10 minutes 3 times a week, and I'll build that up next week to 15 minutes and 20 minutes the following week. So I think we are our own worst enemies, that we actually orchestrate our own failure. And I think there are lots of strategies that we can use that will help us to achieve consistently and to feel good about that success.